Hi, and welcome to episode 19 of the Yoshi and Lucy Knits podcast. My name is Denise, and you can find me on Ravelry as Canary Song. And we also have a forum group on there, which should now be called Yoshi and Lucy Knits. If you're a returning viewer, you notice that I changed the name of my podcast just because now that I have a yarn store, a yarn shop online. It's just easier for people to find me if I just have the same name across multiple platforms. So I'm also changing my Instagram name, and I'll put it down here once I figure out the name. So yeah, it's gonna be the same podcast. I am recording in a new spot just because I haven't really been happy with the lighting situation where I was recording before. It should be a little bit better here. Unfortunately, it's a cloudy day, and there's nothing I can do about that. And I really don't want to invest a ton of money in lighting, so I'm trying to find other avenues to to improve the lighting in the podcast. So hopefully this will be a little bit better than previous episodes, and when it's a nicer day out, it should be lighter inside and for the podcast. So yeah, my backdrop is pretty boring right now, but I'm probably gonna put some knitting up eventually in the future. But right now I've been kind of busy, so I haven't had a chance to do that. So for this episode, I have one finished object, two hose, and I think I have a few whips and then a new cast on, and a lot of others to talk about, so I'll just move on for that. So now I'm trying to get the knitting here. I finished my Silver. I have a hard time saying that. Silver Shawl by Lisa Munch, and this is knitted out of Hedgehog Fiber Skinny Singles in the birthday cake colorway. So this is a one skein project, and I finished this in about 10 days, and I was working on other projects, so I was like really addicted to knitting this. And when I finished it, my mom saw it and she just kept going on about it, how she liked the pattern and the drape and the yarn. So I'm giving this to her, and since we're going to Ecuador at the end of this week, we will be spending a few days in Cuenca, which is going to be colder weather, so she can wear it then. And I have plenty of shawls to wear. So yeah, I really like this pattern. It's free pattern, so if you need like a one skein project, you have some yarn you don't know what to do with, I would recommend this pattern. I have been working on socks as well. I finished one of my vanilla socks that I was working on before, and this is Plymouth Yarns, and what am I forgetting already? In Happy Feet, and this is the lipstick colorway. So yeah, and I already blocked it because I have to block things as soon as I finish them. I don't know why, I always do that. Yeah, it's pretty soft. I haven't cast on the second one because I want those needles clear so I can cast on another pair of socks that I want to take on my trip. And then I also finished one sock for the cobblestone sock pattern, which is by Mina Phillip. And this is Cat's Kettle yarn. I really like how it's knitting up, how I knit it up. And I started the second sock already. I'm up to the heel. And I did a German short row heel, which is what Mina has in her pattern. And yeah, I really like I think my favorite part of this yarn is the little peach flex in there. Every time it comes up, I get really happy. And you know, you knitting high and dyed yarn, you're gonna get different variation, even when from skein to skein, and even within the project. So I noticed that definitely with this one, I have a lot more peach in it, and I really like that compared to this. And I think that's like the fun part of hand dyed yarn, is that you're not sure what you're gonna get once you knit it up. So yeah, and recently, well, this past week was Mina's birthday. Happy birthday, Mina, if you're watching. And she had a flash sale for all her patterns, and I went nuts. I got her second pattern collection, her Beyond Vanilla Part 2, and I also purchased some of her other sock patterns and a shawl pattern. So I have a lot of Mina patterns to knit up this upcoming year. And I think I might cast on one of them soon for Christmas gift. So I have a new cast on this week. I cast on Harvest by Tin Can Knits. This is it's a free pattern, and the sizing is from like newborns to like adult. And I wanted to cast this on for my goddaughter, who's about to turn 3, and I knit her a sweater last year for her, which she like wore almost every chance she got, and so you know, she's getting bigger, and it's probably not going to fit her this year, so I decided to cast on another sweater for her. And I'm using my own hand dyed yarn. This is rosewood, and I dyed this up in a worsted weight. This is 100% merino, superwash merino. I really like how it dyed up. So it's not much yet. You start. This is a top-down seamless sweater. So you cast on the collar and you knit all the way down, and then well, you cast on, I think, a crochet conventional cast on, and I don't have a crochet hook, or I do have them, but I don't know where they are, so I had to find other ways to do this cast on, and I found a video on YouTube on how to do it without a crochet hook, and I'll include the link to it. And I watched that like a bunch of times, so I was able to figure it out. So you use like waste yarn and the yarn you're working with, and you make a little knot, and you'll see in the video that's how you cast it on. And then once you get to the end, once I get to the end of knitting this, I had to like pick up all the stitches around the band, and then once I got here, I just took out, and I had live stitches. So yeah, I haven't been working on this the past few days, but I like how it's knitting up, and I think it's going to be a really cute sweater for a little girl. And I'm using my Knit Picks interchangeable set, because this is what I had available, and this is a US 8 needle, and then at some point I have to use US 6, but I'm not sure because I didn't read the whole pattern. Yeah, I should really read ahead, but sometimes I don't. I just want to like cast it on, and then I figure it out as I go along. So this past week I've actually been working on my my Cozy Memories blanket. It was starting to get a little chilly in New York, and you know, I saw on Instagram people have been knitting on there, so I took mine out. I haven't been working on this in I don't know, like maybe like 2 months at this point, and I did a whole row. So if you have never seen it before, or it's been a while, here it is. I have like 50 squares right now. So this whole row is just all yarn that I dyed up when I was just experimenting with dyeing yarn. So I have quite a few of these little skeins left. So so here's the little bag of mini skeins I have, and they're 10-gram mini skeins, and I only use like 5 for a square, and I'm deciding what am I gonna do with the rest of them. Do I just add them later on, or I was contemplating starting another blanket, and then I'm saying, really, do I want to cast on another blanket? I already have 2 going on at the moment. One of them that I haven't even worked on in months. But I do have the pinwheel pattern by Mina Phillip, which is you just knit like a square at a time and then you join them. And since I am going on a trip this week, I'm thinking about, obviously, what am I going to bring on the plane? So I was thinking, should I start that blanket? And so I'm still undecided. I keep going back and forth. Yeah, I'll start that blanket. No, I shouldn't. I should just work on something else. Or I was even thinking about bringing this on the plane. Would I look insane if I'm knitting on a blanket? You tell me. This like fits on my lap, but it doesn't, reach to the end of my ankle or anything. So it's not that big, but it's getting there. So I don't know. If you have a idea what I should do, let me know. Yeah, I really like how my blanket is looking right now. The thing I don't like about doing this blanket is that I have to like hand wind the mini skeins, and that does take time. So that's why I when I did start working on this again, I sat there and I wind like 10 skeins, since I'm doing 10 rows right now. 10, a row of 10 squares, so not 10, 5 squares. This is, my brain's not working. I wound up like 5 little squares, little mini skeins, and then I just knit 1 square and then just went to the next one. I think I should just one day just sit down and just wind up all my little mini skeins, so then I don't procrastinate on knitting the blanket, you know what I mean? So maybe I'll set aside a day to do that. So yeah, that's all of my whips right now. I will be casting on another pair of socks. So since it's almost October and that means Halloween, I want to cast on these Knit Picks Felici in the spooky colorway. This is like old stash. Like, I think I bought this yarn before I even knew how to knit socks, and so it's just been sitting in my drawer that whole time because I didn't know how to knit socks. And then it wasn't Halloween or Halloween season, and I didn't want to knit on Halloween socks, but now is the perfect time to cast these on. So I think I'm gonna cast these on and take them with me on my trip. And also, Laura from the Fun Knits is hosting a Halloween knit along, so this is perfect for that. Not sure what pattern I'm gonna use, but they're gonna be socks for me. So for my acquisitions, I've been trying not to buy yarn recently because I'm going to Rhinebeck next month. I have been good some weeks, but then just stuff happens and I end up buying things. I did purchase a skein of Once Upon a Corgi yarn. This is in her Because Pumpkin Spice yarn, and this is Gabby's shop, who also hosts the Once Upon a Corgi podcast, and she recently decided to dye yarn full time. So I felt like I had to support her in that, and also because I wanted this. So this is her Audrey base is 80/20. So it's 80% superwash BFL and 20% nylon. And I've never knit a pair of BFL socks before, so this is gonna be interesting. All my socks so far have been merino, and I just really like the colorway, and it's pumpkin spice. You know, I just had to do it. Also, this past week was the New York City yarn crawl. And I went to one store. I don't know if that counts as me participating in the crawl since I only went to one store. But recently I found out that the Argyle yarn shop, which is in Brooklyn near Prospect Park, started carrying hedgehog fibers, which I think is maybe one of the few stores in New York that does carry hedgehog fibers. I know before I had to buy yarn at Do You Knit, which is out in New Jersey, and it was just really difficult for me to get there, so I've been saying that I wanted some hedgehog sock yarn, and since they were having a sale for the yarn crawl, I had to get it. So I got birthday cake, which is this is the last skein of birthday cake yarn, and I'm gonna knit it up for on my birthday month, which is in November. And then I couldn't decide what else to get. Like I walked in the store was packed because of the crawl, and I went straight for the hedgehog yarn, and I just pretty much stood there for like 20 minutes, like holding a bunch of skeins in my hand because I didn't know what to get. I didn't want to go crazy, so I only limited myself to 2 skeins. So I ended up getting Fly. I wasn't sure to get this, or there was like a darker blue yarn, and then I was looking at other stuff. Finally I was like, okay, I'm in the store so long, and I'm just like, I felt like I was just standing in one spot the whole time and not giving people their chance to look, so I just went with this yarn, and I don't have any plans to knit with this anytime soon, so I'm just gonna keep in my stash for a while and figure out what to knit with it later. And they also had like this cute flyer, which I had to get from the crawl. So it lists all the stores that participated in it. This is not all the stores in New York. I know Woolen just recently opened, and maybe because it just opened, they're not part of for that reason. So there's a lot of stores in the back here. A lot that I've never actually been to. I've never been to Nitty City just because it's on West 79th Street. If you're not from New York, you don't know what that means, but that's pretty far up, at least for me. I tend to not go to uptown New York. So yeah, I've just never been up there. And there's also String Yarn, which is on East 74th Street. I've been to Brooklyn General, obviously, because it's right near. Hi, sorry. So my phone is full, so I had to delete a bunch of stuff to be able to record. So yeah, what was I saying? I was talking about the yarn crawl, and a bunch of stores participated. The one thing that I noticed other states do is that they tend to have tote bags, and then as you go to each store, you collect the little pins. I'm not sure exactly where I've seen this. I remember seeing this on a different podcast. They weren't doing anything like that in New York. They would just you just sign in, and then I guess the more stores you visit, the higher chances for you to win a prize. So yeah, I think it would have been cool if they had like a tote bag and put all their names on there, and then you collect pins, and then you have like a nice little memento of the yarn crawl. So yeah, I think that would have been cool. Um, but I only went to one store, so this past week I entered some of my knitting at the local county fair. So we have it's called the Queens County Farm Museum, and every year they have a fair. And I haven't been able to enter my knitting in until this year, so I was like really excited to do that. And I entered a pair of socks and a sweater, and yeah, my socks won first place. So my monkey socks, which I knit this year, using my own hand dyed yarn. This is like one of the first skeins I've ever dyed up, and I think I have the recipe written down somewhere, and I tried to recreate it at some point, but it didn't work out, so I'm gonna have to try it out again. But I do want to repeat this colorway because it's really pretty. So yeah, I won first place, and I also entered in a sweater, which you guys have never seen before. So I knit this last year. So with the entries, I guess I was a little bit confused, because in the knitting category they have like three different categories: article of clothing, accessory, and tablecloth. And you're only allowed like 3 entries in total in the arts and crafts area. And so for me, like an article of clothing, I would think it was like a sweater, a cardigan or something. And that's like how it's listed in Ravelry. And accessories are like shawls and hats and socks. So that's why I entered my socks in the accessories section. So I was like, well, I don't have any other sweaters that I've knit recently. Yeah, I decided to enter this old sweater that I made. I started knitting this like 3 years ago, and I finished it last year. But all the other entries were shawls, and if I would have known that, I would have entered a shawl. So I only got like honorable mention. It's not a big deal, but I know now for the next year I'm probably going to enter a shawl. And I would have entered waiting for rain shawl, which I saw there, so we would have been entering the same pattern. So I knit this, like I said, I started knitting this like 3 years ago, and I have finished it last year, and I haven't been wearing it because I've come to realize that I'm not really a pullover person, I guess. I like cardigans better, and this yarn is a bit scratchy. This is Cascade 220, so I have to wear something underneath it to feel comfortable. But it's a pretty nice pattern. And I do have a mistake here that I had to fix, and that's probably why I didn't place higher. Now I can't find it, but I did drop a stitch at some point, and I went back and fixed it. But it's pretty noticeable. So yeah. I wish I would have had more time at the fair. I did film some clips, and I'm gonna put them at the end. Next year, I'm probably gonna try to spend a whole day there. I pretty much just showed up at the end of the fair to see how I placed and to pick up my items. So for the shop update this week, I already put these in the shop, and I announced them on Instagram. I did mini skein set, so these are 20 grams, all new colorways. So just to show you. So yeah, they're 20 grams, but they look kind of small. I'm not happy with how they look, and I ended up ordering a nitty knobby. Since I'm not a spinner, I don't have that. Just so I could, make it look prettier. But they are 20 grams, I assure you. I weighed them. So I have them in the store now, and they're all new colorways. And I am going to offer these as full skeins at some point, probably when I come back from my trip. So this is called Elephants on Parade. This is Cotton Candy. And this is Eggplant. This is Rustic. I really like how the green shows up in this. You might not be able to see it in the mini skein, but it's kind of like a grassy green, and I paired it with like a lighter orange. So I like how that looks. And this is Silver Amethyst. So yeah, I like these. And I might add some to my blanket. You never know. I wanted to recommend a podcast, which I haven't done in a while. And this is like a brand new podcast. I think she has like 2 episodes up right now. And that's called Crazy Sock Lady, which is hosted by Kay. And I really I really like the name of her podcast. And I like the projects that she shows, and just like her demeanor, and she seems really nice, and I enjoy watching her podcast and knitting along with her. So so you guys should check it out if you haven't. She recently knit up Pure Joy shawl by Hohi Locatelli, and she's knits on socks. That's the name of her podcast. It's Crazy Sock Lady. And she has a lot of nice projects, so check her out. So like I've been saying recently, I'm going on a trip this week. I'm going to be away to Ecuador for a wedding until October 12th. So my shop is going to be on vacation, and I'm not going to, because I'm not going to be here to ship out items until I come back. So if you have any interest of anything in my shop, I would suggest you order it this week. So when I come back, I'm already having like some new colorways. I think I'm gonna do some dye to order colors, and I'm gonna be introducing like some new bases. So I have a lot of stuff coming up, and I'm gonna be coming back like 2 days before riding back. And I'm hoping to record an episode before then, because I'm going to be filming clips while I'm away. I'm not going to have time to podcast. But I do want to like share with you guys what I've been doing on my trip. And I am going to be checking out some yarn shops when I'm there. And before the craziness with Rhinebeck happens and I forget everything that happens, I want to record before then. So yeah, I think that's about it, and I'll catch you guys soon. Bye.